How do you create a brand that's consistent and easy to use, even as your company grows? That's the goal of creating a scalable brand. I'm Amy Moore, and I love design. But even as Executive Creative Director and co-founder at Lemonly, I've realized something. I can't and shouldn't design everything. The magic happens when our creative team builds systems and empower any Lemonhead to create incredible work without waiting for my schedule to open up. Because trust me, that way lies madness. Today, we're talking about building a visual brand that scales with you, what it means to have a scalable brand, why it matters, and how to build one. What is a scalable brand? Basically, it's a set of design assets and guidelines that make content creation less of a headache. Templates, patterns, photo libraries, icons, these are all potential pieces of a scalable brand. At Lemonly, we call this a design system. Having these assets and guidelines make it easier to ensure your content stays clear, consistent, and effective across a wide range of applications and use cases. Because as we all know, creating consistent, quality content can be tough, especially when multiple team members are in the mix. First, let's talk about why you need a scalable brand. You need a brand that can grow because your company's going to grow. Ideally, your company evolves with new campaigns, new products or services, new platforms, and even new team members. Your brand needs to be able to adapt with those changes without losing its essence. Your brand should still feel like you. On top of that, consistency builds trust. When your brand looks, feels, and sounds the same across every touch point, it reinforces credibility. If some of your posts look polished and branded while others are full of word art and watermark stock photos, good luck getting your audience to take you seriously. Sure, not every example of inconsistent content is that extreme, but plenty of teams still struggle. Sometimes the marketing team says one thing, sales teams go rogue with copy and design for their slides, and the social media voice is different entirely. And those disconnects only get worse as your company grows. Without scalable systems and guidelines, your brand gets fragmented. It erodes trust and makes your team less efficient. Efficiency is the next key benefit of a scalable brand. Scalable brand assets save you time and money. They reduce design bottlenecks, empower non-design teams to create on-brand content, and help ensure no one is reinventing the wheel or inventing a worse, less efficient wheel. Your team can move quickly and still put out things that look good and build brand equity. Another benefit of a scalable brand is future-proofing. It grows with you. If you're launching a new product, expanding services, beefing up your employer branding, or whatever the next exciting thing is, a scalable brand ensures you already have what you need to create content to support the next stage of your organization. So you know what a scalable brand is, and you know why it's helpful. But what are the components of a scalable brand? And how do you know if your brand is scalable? For an effective scalable brand, you need a strong, flexible identity built on these key building blocks. First, your brand foundation. That's your mission, vision, values, those key attributes that define who you are. Maybe your organization has a mantra or brand promise. No matter what you call them, the elements of your brand foundation should be reflected in all the brand pieces that follow. The next building block is your voice and tone. Voice is your brand's personality. It should stay consistent across all your written communication. But the tone, the overall feeling or emotional quality of your message, should adjust to suit the purpose of your communication. For example, Lemonly's voice is fun and friendly, but we can deliver a message that's more serious in tone while still maintaining that brand voice. That's the flexibility that helps your brand scale while staying consistent. Your voice and tone aren't the only brand elements that need consistency. Your visual elements should also help strengthen your brand story. Logo, colors, typefaces, icons, brand patterns, even things like photography and illustration. Establishing and properly using these visual elements helps legitimize your brand story and build your credibility. Even animated and interactive elements can be part of that larger brand presence. Is your brand bouncy? Does it zoom? Is your motion style more playful or sleek? Things like the transitions you use in videos or the walking patterns of your animated characters give your audience clues about your personality and add to the overall cohesiveness of your brand. When you have all these blocks defined, people also need to know how to use them the right way. That's why you want to include both rules and flexibility. A great brand system isn't rigid. It's structured but leaves room for creative interpretation. It adapts without breaking. So, we have the key components of our brand. Next, let's talk about how to build a design system that scales. The goal is to create repeatable design solutions so your brand doesn't rely on one designer's memory or one-off creative files. To meet that goal, you have to tokenize your design. Think like a developer. You want to create reusable elements such as button styles, header images, or typography stylings that can be applied consistently across multiple areas. Let's break it down into 6 key steps. Before you get into creating new things, start with step 1. Audit what you have. Look for building blocks your team is using across different applications. Logos, colors, typefaces, character designs, photos, that kind of stuff. What elements do you already have? What's working well? Does anything need updating or replacing? Is your photo library getting a little stale? What are the inconsistencies or pain points? Maybe you have multiple icon styles that your team members are using interchangeably. Are there some brand elements that you don't have that you want to have, like a pattern or photo treatment? Your brand elements should reinforce and express your brand foundation. So as you do your audit, check back to make sure everything feels cohesive with your larger brand presence. Here's a quick example of what an audit can look like. We'll share a link to a checklist in the description here, but feel free to create your own based on your unique brand and needs. The next step, fill in the gaps. If you want a pattern, create one. If you're missing some icons that would be useful, get them designed. If you need to establish clearer heading styles, do it. This process might take a while, but with the result of your audit, you can prioritize where to start and make adjustments as you go. Another thing you should be doing as you go, create clear, easy-to-follow rules for your assets. How big should your icons be in print? What logo color belongs on a dark background versus a light background? How should your team select photos from your photo library? The clearer you are on your guidelines, the easier it will be for your team members to confidently create on-brand content. Bonus points for making your brand standards a living doc for easier updates. That way, people aren't still referring to an old version of the guidelines they saved to their desktop as a PDF. We recommend housing your guidelines and rules on Figma or another digital asset manager. Once you have your rules defined and shared, you can unleash the power of the templates. Your team will love templates. Design systems should include ready-to-use social templates, ad layouts, presentation decks, and email headers. Here's some of ours. Just swap out the text, make sure you're following the guidelines for spacing and such, and you're good to go. Tools like Figma Buzz can make using branded templates a snap. Next, just like you need to house your guidelines somewhere everyone can access, you also need to centralize your brand kit. Logo files, color palette, that usually includes hex codes, RGB, and CMYK color codes, type styles, elements, and your beautiful, beloved branded templates. At Lemon.ly, we use Dropbox, but we also have an Adobe library for shared brand elements and a Canva account with a brand kit that the non-designers truly appreciate. We'll talk more about tools in a bit, so stay tuned. Once you have your assets, guidelines, templates, and organizational tools, you have a couple of other ongoing tasks. First, test for flexibility. Can your design system work for different teams and platforms? Is it easy to use? Does it break down with custom content or varying use cases? Sometimes your brand gets to break the rules. What use cases call for custom content? You probably want to call those out in your documentation somewhere or create a process where the brand team can grant exceptions to the rules. In addition to testing for flexibility as you go, you want to iterate over time. Just because your design system can scale doesn't mean it's going to stay the same forever. New brand needs come up. Things might need a little refresh after a while. So we have the assets. We talked a little bit about tools, but let's dive more into implementation. For your scalable brand to be actually useful for your organization, every team, from creative to marketing to HR, needs to have the right tools to create on-brand work. There are a variety of tools to explore for executing your beautiful, scalable brand. Here are some favorites we've used at Lemon.ly for ourselves or for our clients. Canva brand kits. I mentioned our non-designers are big fans of Canva. It's equally great for marketing teams who need on-brand graphics fast. You can upload your brand assets, your templates, your colors, and whip something up in a few seconds. Check it out. Templates in Google Slides or PowerPoint. Sales teams love these. When you have pre-built templated decks with locked layouts and brand colors, you can customize it to fit anything from a pitch deck to a presentation for potential interns. We have a pretty comprehensive master slide deck at Lemon.ly, which we love. Anybody can make a copy, delete the slides they don't want, fill in their own information, and roll with it. Adobe Creative Cloud Libraries. Adobe houses our centralized color palettes, graphics, and templates for designers. It's perfect for creating bespoke content that still follows the brand. Plus, it's easy to add newly created icons and illustrations to your library for reusing next time. DAMs, or digital asset managers. Tools like Brand Folder or Adobe Experience Manager ensure everyone pulls the same high-quality approved brand assets. These are enterprise-level tools that include metadata and such for photo sourcing and robust tagging and search capabilities. If you want a photo of someone laughing at a desk, you can find it pretty quick, as long as it's tagged. Maintain good tagging practices. There are lots of tools out there, and new design tools are cropping up all the time. The best tool for you will depend on your team's skills, needs, and existing tool set. Once you've established the building blocks for a scalable brand, you can implement your design system across one or multiple tools that suit your needs. The last and most important thing to remember about a scalable brand, it's only as good as the team that uses it. You have to give your people the training and onboarding they need to be successful using your brand. Run brand workshops, create quick video walkthroughs, we use Loom for ours, and provide answers to FAQs. An effective design system benefits everyone on the team. Make sure they know how to make the most of it. When your brand can scale, your message becomes more powerful, and your team can focus on what matters most, which is connecting with your audience. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found some ideas and tools to explore today. If you did, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more tips on branding, infographics, and all things design related. Looking for a partner to help build a design system and a brand that seriously scales? Get a hold of us at lemonly.com. We'd love to hear from you.